You're listening to Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong, all on Georgia Radio Network.
Welcome to episode 144 of the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast. I'm Dave Roberts. With me, as always, is the podcast professional, the broadcast professional, the professional journalist, Jessica Szilagyi.
But not the professional host. I'm really glad you're back.
I'm back.
Yes,
how was your week?
Back. It was fine, I guess. I mean, long, same, unconfusing. I don't like it.
Confusing. I don't like it. You don't like uncertainty.
I just don't like it. It doesn't matter if it's certain or not. I just don't like it anymore.
You don't thrive on chaos?
No. Was your vacation chaotic?
It stormed. Saturday when we got there, the storm was coming in. Of course, we flew into the storm and then drove directly into the path of the storm in Marathon. Saturday night, we got the eye. And the owner happened to be there. He owns several units in this condo we were at. And he happened to be down from Wisconsin and helped close all the storm shutters and all that stuff. And I left enough windows so I could see the storm coming in because it's cool. But we got the eye where the stars came out, stopped raining, the wind stopped blowing, and then it moved on through and picked right back up. But Etta hit the Gulf. And normally after hurricane comes through, it's beautiful weather. The wind stops blowing, the sun comes out, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Well, not this time. Etta came into the Gulf and then hit another system and made a hard right-hand turn back into Florida and hit Tampa. Well, the outer bands, as it was hitting Tampa, were still pounding the Keys. So it rained Saturday through Wednesday. Thursday was pretty nice. We went to the pool. Friday was nice. We went to the Turtle Hospital and the Dolphin Research Center and had a nice day. But Saturday coming back, driving back to Miami, was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, that's the day we're leaving.
Of course.
And I'll tell you, Miami sucks. But Florida man was in full effect down there. I kid you not. I saw a guy on a scooter, no helmet. There's no helmet law in Florida, which I'm totally fine with. You make your own decisions. No helmet, wearing a mask by himself on a scooter. What is more likely to end your life? Spilling your brains on the pavement, or a virus somehow jumping off of a person in a moving car, invading your body while you're going 30 miles an hour down the road? So he had enough forethought to think that I don't want to get sick, so I'll wear a mask. But helmet? That's just oppressive. And it is funny that Florida has no helmet law, but they're mandating masks.
We don't have a helmet law, do we?
Yes.
We do.
We do.
Well, you can tell it's been a while since I've had to do anything with a helmet.
You don't have to have DOT, and I can't remember the way it's written. It's something about head protection. So that's where you see people wearing skull caps and things like that. And I've heard the argument that a hat qualifies. And this is years and years ago. I was riding a motorcycle with some friends, and somebody stole his helmet off his bike. So he had a hat in my saddlebag that, you take off your helmet, you get helmet head, I throw a hat on. So I lent him my hat, and we made it home with that. But Florida man is definitely in full effect down there. Flying out, the note I have is awesome. So we drop off the rental car, and MIA sucks. Miami International Airport sucks. The rental car is forever away from from where you check in to go to Delta, which is H concourse. And they have a tram, but you have to walk through the rental car center, which is a pretty good walk, and my wife can't pack worth a damn. So I'm lugging hundreds of pounds of crap. Half the crap we didn't use because it wasn't sunny enough to go outside. And I'm walking through the rental car, and the lines at the rental car center on that Saturday were just, enormous. They stretched forever. And this woman is in something, I can't really, you almost call it a white cotton leotard and a push-up bra. and I guess something needed adjusting. And she whips her entire boob out to adjust her bra and puts it and puts it back away. I'm like, you couldn't like turn away or go to the bathroom or maybe shift around without, I mean, that'd be like a guy reaching in because he's getting a little pinched and whipping his junk out and then tucking it back in. So that was interesting. I mean, you can't say much more Florida. Then you get on the tram. What's that?
No, I was just going to interject about something because what you mentioned to me, or what you just mentioned about the woman and then if a guy did it, we've talked on the show about, public indecency and all these, I think the lady with at the top was she at Hilton Head or Myrtle Beach or something? She wanted to walk around without her top on and she said men can do it and all this. What you just described is something that a woman could do on a plane, but if a man did it, he would be arrested.
Oh, yeah. And look, it was not her intention to expose herself, just her hand didn't cover everything or enough of anything because I got the full show on her right side. But yeah, well, and usually, because you're not going to have any guys going to a police officer going, I was offended.
Right.
I mean, the only person who's going to be offended by a boob coming out is going to be another woman.
Yes.
Yeah, either I've got kids. I'm like, well, they fed off those suckers for about a year. So get on the tram, and here comes the next unsolicited boob. Now the tram gets you to an area of the concourse. Our concourse still feels like it's another mile away when you get off the tram. So this dirtbag couple gets on. I guess they just got off a Greyhound, and they have no idea where they're going. They say we need to get to the lower level terminal. Like, there is no lower level terminal. What are you talking about? Where are you going? Are you flying? Because this is the train to the airport. No, we ain't flying. I just spent 3 years traveling. I don't want to get on an airplane. I'm thinking to myself, being homeless and traveling are two different things. I mean, I guess there's one way to put it. So she's in a t-shirt that's cut all the way down to her waist on the side with no sleeves on it. And she's got more armpit hair than I do. And of course, no bra on. What you would think of as someone might use as a pool cover up, like you got a bikini on and you throw the shirt on as a pool cover up to go walk around the hotel or whatever, and no bra on, and her boobs hanging out, and they smell, not the boobs, the couple, like they slept in a dumpster. Like, people are moving away from this couple. And I know they're just looking for help, but you realize they were on Greyhound. Somebody had to spend at least 16 hours on a bus with these folks. An advertisement. I guess we lost Greyhound as a sponsor. But it was bad. I mean, to the point where people are like facing the other door, like getting as far as they can. You're in a crowded tram, so you can't really move that far away. And we're just like, oh. As it turns out, they were going the right place. Someone was going to meet them at the downstairs baggage claim. They didn't have the vocabulary to put that out. So we're attempting to go to the downstairs under baggage claim. Oh, all right, yeah, you're going to take here, and then you're going to see a sign for baggage claim, and you follow the moving sidewalk that way. That'd be pretty easy. And then, speaking of nudity, on the plane, I put on Catch 22. It's a Hulu show. It's a interesting book, so I thought I'd catch it. And they used to edit stuff on the airplane, so there's a couple scenes in there which are semi-graphic. And I'm glad no kids were sitting behind me, because it would be an R-rated show if it were actually on network TV. And I'm like, man, again, not offended, just kind of surprised that they didn't edit that scene at all, because I don't think the scene added a whole lot to. I mean, the scenes that actually got graphic didn't really add a whole lot to the storyline. I mean, we got the idea that he's sleeping with his commander's wife, and we got it. So, on that, they'll be so proud of us. Let's mention Big Daddy Unlimited. They are the sponsor for our show. They're your source for guns, ammo when you can find it, accessories, silencers, short barrel shotguns, short barrel rifles. If you buy a registered item, You go in, you fill out your paperwork. If it is an NFA item, a National Firearms Act item, you do your paperwork, you send it into the ATF, you wait a couple months. I say a couple, I don't know what the wait times are right now, maybe 6 months. Then you go pick it up. If you buy a firearm, you simply go in there and fill out your 4473, do a background check if you don't have a carry permit, and if you do, you don't have to worry about it, and you walk out with your gun. If you buy an accessory, anything other than a serialized firearm, it comes directly to your house. So big thanks to Big Daddy Unlimited. Speaking of Florida, did you hear about Ron DeSantis' new proposed law?
Oh, tell us, Dave.
This one's interesting. He wants to extend stand your ground to, as it's being called on NBC, anti-mob proposal.
What?
So if there is social unrest, you would be authorized in protecting your store, your business, or your property, or somebody else's property, so they could enlist your help. You could use a firearm to defend property. So if there's looting and rioting going on, you could use a firearm to protect your store.
But you've got to be recruited by the person who owns the property, or you can just do it?
I don't know. I don't think you can shoot somebody 100 yards away and say, he was about to break the window over there at that bank. And the bank's like, we didn't ask you to. This is still just a draft. I don't know if it'll actually become law. Some of this is, I'm sure, making political hay out of the unrest that we've had lately. But I don't hate the idea.
No. I mean, I don't think there should be any repercussions if my neighbor needs help and I help them. But I guess my question is, like, why is that not the default? And then, like, why do you need a law to enable that? Why wouldn't this require repealing something else?
Right. Well, I think it's to keep activist prosecutors from going after somebody, similar to what we see in, was it Kenosha?
Yeah.
Where that kid was armed to protect a car dealership, I think. And it escalated, even though I think it's a clear case of self-defense when somebody's coming at you with a firearm. Or coming at you and beating you with stuff and attempting to kill you. I think I think that was a clear case of self-defense. But a law like that would keep an activist prosecutor from doing that. Now, I agree with you. I mean, you could certainly delete things from laws, but that still takes an act of the legislature to do it. So I'm generally not a fan of new laws. Mm-hmm. But I think you should be able to protect your property. You should be able to protect your neighbor's property. In fact, whenever I go out of town, I send my neighbor a text. Look, I'm going to be out of town, for a week. I'll be back next Saturday. If anybody is around the house, it's not me. You have absolutely my please treat my home as your home. So he has something he could show somebody if he applies the castle doctrine to my house. If you were to come over here and he saw a broken window, come and investigate and end up shooting somebody, at least he'd be somewhat protected. At least that's our thought. Anyway, I'm not giving legal advice. At least there's something. There's something.
I heard on the podcast that.
Yeah, I heard. Dave Roberts said, "Who? you mean the manager of the LA Dodgers? No, different Dave Roberts." But I mean, it goes back to the LA riots when the store owners were on top of their stores with AK-47s trying to protect their stores. So you have Randolph Bracey, a Democrat state senator, quote, his proposal will only fuel racial unrest and violence, not dampen it. DeSantis is treating the law as a playbook for his next election, which is reckless and irresponsible. the second part of that quote is, I don't know about the reckless and irresponsible, but is he playing for his next his reelection? Of course he is.
Well,
so is Randolph Bracey.
So is everybody else.
Yeah, but that's what politicians do.
That's right. That's what I mean. Like, that's literally. Isn't everything they do calculated?
It should be. I mean, that's the game they're in. That's the game they're in. Is how will this? If I sign on to this law, how will it read? When this hits the blogs, when this hits all the local, how will this read? And it used to be how will this look in the paper? And of course, newspapers are a thing of the past now. But oh man, I don't know. I like the law. I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day. I say I like the law. It's not written yet. This is a proposal.
I can't think of a more unpopular time to do something like this in history. I mean, like, not just November 2020, but
I don't know. I think there are a lot of people who are fed up with it. The only thing that you can see getting sideways is collateral damage. You have legitimate protesters, and these rioters are mixed in the crowd. These looters are mixed in the crowd. So you have somebody over there who's just holding a sign that says "No justice, no peace," and walking linked arms, walking down the street. Someone starts trying to break a window, and you light them up. Unless 100% of your rounds are on target, that if you're 80% accurate, 20% is going somewhere unintended, and you're gonna find collateral damage. Now, look, it should be dangerous to do what they're doing. It should be dangerous to go and loot.
Absolutely. If law enforcement, and I'm not saying I'm by no means making the argument that this is what it should be, but if law enforcement had the protection under the law that DeSantis is talking about, and they were able to just start shooting people because they're destroying other people's stuff, it would stop. So
absolutely.
If they can't do it, the citizens should.
Well, it's like I was watching one of the riots, and they were looting the dollar store. Like, you get a whole armful of like $10, and I mean you're destroying someone's business to go take $10 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And
but like you said, it should be dangerous. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, everyone. I mean, I'm not saying this is right either, but it's one thing when everyone is home or has evacuated and it's after a natural disaster or something. It's another when people are locked in their homes, afraid to go out and not sure what to do and don't really know what their legal liabilities are and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, this country was built on protecting your private property. The West was built on protecting your private property. If someone could just come onto your land and take your cattle, it's why cattle rustling was a capital crime. You were hung for stealing cattle. It was that important to protect what it belongs to the individual. So if you found somebody on your land using a running iron and try to change your brand or something like that, you killed them. And it was dangerous to rustle cattle. So you absolutely had a right to protect what is yours, and you did it with the barrel of a gun.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm not saying that theft should be a capital crime anymore, but I'm saying it added a danger to it. So you had to be really desperate to go and steal from somebody. Yeah, I had eaten beef. I stole a steer, but my family was starving. There has to be you need to be highly motivated to risk death to go steal something from somebody, and I think that would put an end to it. And all these prosecutors do by going after that lawyer and his wife who had their firearms in their front yard, and was it St. Louis? besides Budweiser, the best thing to come out of St. Louis is that story. But they're prosecuting him and they never pulled a trigger, and they're prosecuting him. So laws like this protect that couple, protect someone who sees something going on out in the street and stands there with a firearm, who grabs his AR and says, all right, not today. Not today and not here. Move along.
Right.
So that's not even the dumbest headline of the week.
Well, I don't think that. So to be clear, I wrote the thing, but I don't think DeSantis' idea is dumb.
No.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. I think it's an interesting idea. I'd like to know more and see what it. But this is the dumbest thing I heard all week.
Sorry.
Okay.
Old voting equipment found on the side of the road in Garden City, New Jersey.
No, Dave.
No?
Garden City, Georgia.
Oh, it's Garden City, Georgia. I thought Garden City was in New Jersey. It is the Garden State.
It is.
Damn,
but,
I take a week off. I can't do it anymore.
oh my Lord. Okay, so throw the fishing pull out and reel it back in a little bit. This happened in Georgia. Garden City is not far from Savannah. Like it's literally close to the ports in Savannah. So it's between where I am and Statesboro and Savannah. So this happened, I guess, last Thursday. There was a post on social media where someone had taken a picture of a voting machine in the grass and said, oh my gosh, someone, like, my friend just found this and we've called the news and we've called law enforcement and it looks like it's a voting machine. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, okay, you know, I've had enough of you people on social media. Well, sure enough, it was real. It's one of our old voting machines that they went around and collected around the state. Apparently, they've been storing some of them in the warehouses at the ports. And it's from Fulton County. But this is in Chatham County where it was found. And I guess the GBI took possession of it and they've had to, like, of course, they've had to do this whole, like, chain of custody nonsense, which is hilarious because when we talk about it a little bit later about the locals, I mean, there's no chain of custody, so I don't know why it all of a sudden matters. But yeah, the guy thought it was a solar panel, and it was a briefcase with the voting machine. And so the police called the GBI, and the GBI is working with all of the necessary people. And the Secretary of State's office, in amidst everything else that they're dealing with, was like, don't worry, we're looking into it, but it's definitely old equipment. So just don't worry, they're not used, and there's no way that it could have been related to the 2020 election because they have paper ballots and this thing can't print. So.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Man, this goes more to incompetence than fraud, as most things do. It fell off the back of a truck, or maybe somebody swiped it. Somebody who worked at the port swiped it because he thought it would be cool to have. I don't know. I don't know that it's worth that much investigation.
I agree with that, except for one thing. Because, like I said, we're going to talk about this with memory cards and other equipment in a little bit on the main part of the show. But this is still equipment. It might be old equipment, but it can still be used. It still has value. It's still property of the taxpayers. And for somebody to have it or go around and pick it up, check it off on a clipboard, load it into a truck, and then not inventory it again when they unload it is just indicative of everything about government. The fact that a voting machine was on the side of the road is just, I understand what you're saying about it not being like a big deal. I agree with that. The timing was wild, quite frankly, but where's your inventory? Where is your process? Show us that you can keep up with stuff you buy.
Man, nobody's in charge. Nobody's ever in charge. There's no accountability anymore for anything. Nobody's ever in charge. You're right. It should have been as it goes in the truck. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, take those. All right, take that box, and you check them off. First of all, how does one? I assume these things are in boxes. I assume they just didn't throw them in the back of a dump truck. I assume they were boxed up and put into a semi and transferred down to the port for whatever they're going to do with it. Sell it to a foreign country so their elections can be messed up too. I don't know.
We want to spread the chaos, everybody.
Dear Vladimir, please enjoy these machines on us. As it turns out, he won 100% of the vote again. So I don't know what the plan is of those things. I thought they would be destroyed.
Okay, but if they're destroyed, I expect you to have a spreadsheet with the serial numbers and be like, okay, this one's gone. This one is in ashes. This one has been shot to pieces. This one's been,
like you do everything else. Look, private entities aren't that willy-nilly with their stuff. Private entities, they inventory their stuff. In fact, the air conditioning supply houses shut down twice a year to inventory. Where is everything? Down to how many copper fittings do we have? And they inventory and say, okay, well, what are we short on? And what process went wrong where we're missing this many parts? And obviously, serialized things are a lot easier to keep track of. They're never missing equipment with serial numbers on it. They're missing accessories and stuff that they have to examine their processes of why aren't customers being billed for this and that kind of stuff. But private entities, because they have to make money, know where their assets are. The government doesn't care. It's just beans. They're just units. Oh, we're 2 units short. Oh, they got to be somewhere. Anyway, let's go grab a beer. I guess it's an appropriate time to say these are our opinions and not necessarily those of All on Georgia, and certainly not those of any All on Georgia reporter not offering commentary on the show, and nothing that we say should reflect on our sponsor, Big Daddy Unlimited. Cluster of the week with the risk limiting audit.
Yes, I'd like to at least mention that I got the title of the audit right all week long in writing on Facebook on the podcast last week with Matt. I'm calling it a risk lessening audit, which I think is actually more accurate because, they're trying to, they actually lessened the screw-ups, but whatever. Anyway, it's risk limiting audit. It's done. The results are certified as of Friday. Secretary of State gave everybody it depends on if they were going to work on Sundays and Saturdays and how they wanted to do it. But they had until essentially Wednesday to get their results in. But I think that this isn't necessarily the Secretary of State's fault because they've never done this before. This has never been done in Georgia history. However, they were throughout the entire thing combating false information, misunderstanding, not only with the general public, but elected officials and Board of Elections people. And to me, I didn't expect them to say, we found 30,000 ballots across the state. I did not anticipate that. But I did not foresee such a glaring show of incompetence by local election boards in the state, I guess. And I think, to me, that's what this highlighted more than anything, is that every time we have an election, they should count more than once because they can't count.
Well, I actually talked to an observer who's down in Savannah. He came up from Florida. And the county can assign however many observers they want, or allow however many observers they want. So they can allow, and you have to have one from each party. You have to allow them, but you can allow up to one observer from each party per table. Now, there are 2 counters at each table. The county down there allowed 1 per 10. So each county observer is attempting to observe 20 people counting. And you can't just stand. Apparently, you have to keep walking around. So you're on a 4-hour shift, just walking. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't eat. Don't drink. Just keep walking. And what he said was the irregularities he found, not necessarily fraud. Again, it's these counters are paid like $12 an hour. I mean, these are not going to be and people who have time in the middle of the week in November to not be at another job to go somewhere else and make $12 an hour. Most of the observers are unpaid, and this guy doesn't need to go make $12 an hour. But he was a volunteer for the Republican Party. He said what he saw was, like, say, table 12. Here, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump, Biden, Trump. And then he walks over to the table and he looks, and what they're doing is they're separating the ballots. And they're dropping them into like mailboxes, like the mail bins that you see in offices, and labeled Biden and Trump. And after he hears her say Trump 4 or 5 times, all the ballots were in the Biden box. Whether or not she was doing that on purpose or just out of just muscle memory or just complete apathy doesn't really matter. Now, he can't stop the count. He can't walk up to the county official. He has to go over to the Republican lawyer and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on at table 12. The Republican lawyer then goes to the election board and say, hey, we need to do a count at table 12. And then the election board official goes over and says, stop counting, put your hands down. All right, let me see. And then they dig through the ballot and say, yep, that one's Trump. Yep, that one's Trump. Yep, that one's Trump. Move it over and say this. Okay, continue. And he said, at the end of the shifts, you see people with a lot of attitude. They're tired, and they're just throwing ballots around and things like that. The hand audit, as you prefer, is problematic because it's not being. It depends on the human factor. So when we kept saying, well, paper ballots will back everything up. Paper ballots, paper ballots, paper ballots. Well, we got paper ballots. But they're still being counted by humans that have nothing better to do on a Wednesday in November than make $12 an hour counting paper ballots. And if you're in a highly Democrat area, you're going to get Democrats counting. And whether, like I said, whether or not it's apathy or if it's on purpose. I would think if it were on purpose, she wouldn't have said Trump. She'd keep saying Biden, 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 Biden. And if she was on purpose, she would have thrown a couple token Trumps over there so it didn't look so obvious. I think it's probably a mixture of apathy and incompetence.
So do you think it should have been a 1-to-1 ratio?
That would have been better. Allow a 1-to-1 ratio. Look, the parties can send whatever they want, but as long as it's authorized by the elections board. So if they had enough volunteers to go 1-to-1, why not?
Apparently, the reason I asked that is because, obviously, I mean, I'm saying I saw on Facebook that I have a Facebook friend who was part of the recount effort and everything in 2000, and they said that it was 1-to-1 then. And they were just outraged that it was 1-to-10 because they said that something is better than nothing, but it was really inadequate.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. And it's 1-to-10 is just too many. I mean, I don't know. I don't see the disadvantage of more observers. Why are more eyes worse? As someone who believes in transparency, more eyes has got to be better. I don't know if the thought process is we don't want to stress our counters out, have someone glaring over their shoulder. We don't want you staring over their shoulder. We want you to keep moving, so you're not influencing the count by standing over the shoulder. But if you've got one of each party and you can set ground rules, you can set a piece of tape on the floor. You're not going to get closer to this. but you should be able to, there's no disadvantage to it. So I don't have, this is not an audit. If your taxes were audited the way, as sloppy as the vote count is, you'd lose your mind.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It was not an audit. I think that was not that's an improper use of the term.
Absolutely it is. I mean, it'd be like the IRS come back after an audit and say, well, you owe us between $3,000 and $30,000. It really is an embarrassment. Well, Georgia is the new Florida. I mean, good God. We can't count. So,
go ahead.
It's just embarrassing. The world is looking at Georgia, and Georgia continues to embarrass itself. I wasn't really a fan of the paper ballots to begin with, because it comes down to a hand count.
Well, here's the thing, though. Yes, it comes down to a hand count, and there's a lot of things in play here, but the issue in at least 3 of the 4 counties that we know there was a problem, it wasn't that it was counted wrong. They didn't count the votes. They didn't upload all of the cards to count them.
Yeah. Well, let's first get to there's a forensic audit on random selection of the machines from 6 counties, but not in the counties that issues were reported. Mm-hmm. I like your suggestion here. Perhaps we should have done random selection and the counties where there were issues reported before on our election day. Oh, yeah. That's why you'll never be in government.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the random sample concept I think it's really important. If you're not going to audit all of them, and I guess audit again is the wrong word, but if they felt like there were glitches, I think they picked 5 metro counties and Morgan County in addition. And on top of that, the Fulton County was not included, which a lot of people had issues with. And there's just all these different moving parts as to why 6 was not a good sample in the eyes of a bunch of people. But I think it's irresponsible to not at least have some of the machines tested in the counties where people said before they knew the election results that there were issues, and where there have traditionally been issues in the past. Fulton has been plagued with them.
Well, it always is. But it's unbelievable that they wouldn't go to the problem areas and then randomly sample. I think 6 is a minuscule number in comparison to the number of voting machines we have in this state.
I don't know how many machines they did. They just did 6 machines from 6 counties. But again, some counties have 4 machines. Some counties have 40.
Right, but 6 statewide seems too small. I don't know what's involved in doing a forensic audit of the machine. How it's done. If it's all done with software, or if they're counting I don't even know how the hell you do it.
It's a review of basically like their server type thing to check if it's been hacked or tampered with. It says Pro V&V, which is a U.S. Election Assistant Commission certified testing lab, found no evidence that the machines being tampered. It says, we are glad but not surprised that the audit of the state's voting machine was an unqualified success. Election security has been a top priority since day one of my administration, and we have partnered with the Department of Homeland Security, the Georgia Cyber Center, Georgia Tech security experts, and a wide range of other election security experts around the state and country, so Georgia voters can be confident that their vote is safe and secure. And this company is out of Huntsville, Alabama. And it says that, I guess, the certification is something that came out of Congress in 2002. So they're certified based on the government standards, which is, I love those types of certifications. It's just top notch. But it just says that they used forensic techniques, including equipment from Cobb, Douglas, Floyd, Morgan, Paulding, and Spalding counties, precinct ballot scanners, ballot marking devices, central absentee ballot scanners. All of that was, they checked the software or the firmware for each of those devices.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how much time that takes. If it's something where they plug into the USB port and computer runs it and goes, bing, it's good.
Well, obviously it doesn't take very long because they finished by November 17th, and they didn't start until the Thursday or Friday before. So, I mean, talking a couple business days to not only do it, but also generate your report.
And look, folks, we're stuck with this machine for a little while.
$100 million?
Yeah, we're stuck with it. I don't think you can take these back to Target. Hey, y'all. This thing's no good. Can we get our $100 million back? I mean, even a partial refund, because these things ain't good. Yeah, I don't think so. But again, reading your note, became clear after the week that this audit didn't do much to verify results. It was highlighting the gross incompetency by local boards of election.
Right. Every problem we saw was, well, we don't really know what happened in Floyd. Like, there's been two different reports. One said that there was a machine error, and then this report obviously says there wasn't because they were among the random sample. And then another said that that ballots simply weren't counted. But so I hate to speculate when we don't know for certain, at least right now at the time of recording. But the other three that we know of, Douglas, Walton, and Fayette counties, was somebody leaving off a memory card, which goes back to my argument about inventory. If you are given 5 memory cards, you should upload 5 memory cards, even if one of them is blank.
Yeah. Look, and we had this conversation offline. When an Army unit goes to the range, they know how many rounds of ammo they have. They know exactly how many rounds of ammo they have. And they have to, you collect your brass. So if you go with 10,000 rounds, you need to have 10,000 pieces of brass, the empty casings, to show that we shot that no one is sticking this in their pocket. It's a little harder when you start talking about hand grenades and stuff, but that no one is walking off the range with Army ammo. If you shoot 5,000, you turn in 5,000 rounds of ammo and 5,000 spent shell casing. It's not that hard because folks in the Army aren't that smart. I know, I are one. Well,
and someone made a comment after like the third one came out about the missing memory cards and whatnot. And someone said, obviously there was no directive and no scheme of checking off things and what needs to be done by the Secretary of State's office. And I totally agree with that. There wasn't, obviously. But, and this isn't an excuse, but maybe they didn't know they needed to. I mean, if somebody lets me borrow a toolbox, I'm going to make sure that everything that they gave me is in the toolbox when I give it back.
Right. Absolutely. And think about having a large shop where guys come and sign tools out, and they sign them back in. I took a TIG welder. I signed my name on the line. When I come back, I take it back to the tool shop, and I make sure that I see them sign it back in before I leave because I don't want them sticking me with a $3,000 piece of equipment. So the same absolutely needs to be true. And I understand that a lot of the poll workers are volunteers and all that, but there needs to be an accountability of one-to-one. If I have a memory card, I'm issued a memory card, that goes in the machine. I have a clipboard and I write, memory card 352 is in machine 12. And then when I take it out, I sign that back out and say 352 is out of the machine, and then sign it into whatever the reader is, or I drop it off and I sign it into wherever a box is supposed to go to be uploaded. It's just not that hard of a process. It's just not. I understand we're talking about some precincts with 40 machines. I understand. But you can't just have a big pile of memory cards and you just, oh, that one's full. Let me grab another memory card. And you have no idea where that card is now. Is it in somebody's pocket? Is there a poll worker? And here's what we don't know. Is there a poll worker in a heavily Republican area like Paulding County that takes the memory card and sticks it in their pocket, just takes it home and throws it away? We have no idea.
Bless you.
Because up until finding that memory card, we didn't know it was missing. We didn't know that there were thousands of votes missing. We had no idea.
Right. And some, Democrats are just arguing about, professing on Twitter nonstop about how, this isn't changing the outcome of the election. See, we told you so, and what a waste of time. I don't think it was a waste of time or money at all, because, again, to me, it shows that our Board of Elections are frequently just rounding up and not ensuring that a vote is counted. And I don't go to the polls to vote to make sure that I change the outcome of the election. I vote because I'm told that my vote is counted.
Those were thousands of voices that were almost stolen. Somebody took time out of their day to participate in our process of government. And some dip stole those votes, or attempted to steal those votes, or almost stole those votes, whether intentionally or unintentionally. They should have a little more respect for the process, a little more respect for the people that are coming in. They don't come in for a free damn sticker. They come in to participate in our government, to be represented in our government. That's why we shot and killed the British, was we didn't have representation in our government. And that's what you're stealing someone's voice. You're saying you don't matter. We don't care. We don't care enough about your voice to keep track of what you did. Close enough is not close enough.
And it's a disservice to everybody, because honestly, okay, so yes, we're talking about on a scale of 5 million votes here in Georgia, but there were other races on this ballot, and no matter who the winner is, they deserve to know, that they won by 511 votes in that county, or 508. They should, for statistics, for victory, for the, consultants from a business perspective of knowing how much each vote that they garnered cost to get. And for a number of reasons, because it's the right thing to do. It's the ethical thing. It's the moral thing. To count every vote. It doesn't matter. And like I said, we're only talking about the presidential race. But in Fayette County, it was 2,700 ballots that weren't counted. 2,700 down the row. And we're not even having the conversation that might have changed the outcome of other races.
Yeah, tell me 2,700 votes in a county can't swing a commission race.
That's right.
Can't swing a state representative race. Can't swing a state senate race. Hell, the runoff, the primary runoff for our state senate came down to 200 votes.
That's right.
Well, tell me right now that the guy who lost, Boyd, isn't sitting around thinking, were all the votes uploaded?
And that's my point, is forever, people are going to say, did they do it right? Because this wasn't a machine. Like, people are already weary of technology. We all are. Like, we can say that this is the best voting machine, if you believe that this is the best voting machine system in the nation, that it's top notch, we're the best in the world, advanced, secure, blah, blah, blah. But everybody in their mind is like, man, I hope this thing doesn't just explode. That's just human nature. We don't always fully trust what we don't understand. And most of us don't understand the inner workings of a computer. But to know that the people who are charged with counting cannot count and they aren't doing it correctly. And then on top of that, there's been no conversation about what where we go from here. Like, so it wasn't just those 4 counties. As of Tuesday evening, I believe there were 110 out of 159 Georgia counties that were done with their audit. At that time, only 57, so about half, came up with the same number they had the first time. 32 counties were within a single-digit range from the first count, and 21 counties were within 1 count in either direction from the initial count. So my question was, okay, well, are they going to count a third time? Because which number are you going to take? You can't certify numbers that you're not sure about. If you get 2 numbers and they're different, you can't certify those results. That's my complaint with Raffensperger right now. Like,
well, look at the root word of certify. Certain.
Yeah.
Ish is not certain. When I say we're going to start recording at 8:30-ish, that means, 8:25, 8:45, somewhere around there, ish. I'll be there at 8-ish. You know, if I rolled at 8:15, it's, let's be there at 8-ish. No, if I say I'm certainly going to be there at 8, that means at 7:59 I'm walking in the door. It's certain, certify, certain. You're not certain on these numbers. Hell, let's get on to what used to be Vernon Jones County, DeKalb. David Schaefer. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to preface, like, this is, so, I mean, not only are we dealing with actual incompetence, we're dealing with people getting on Twitter and social media and letting news spread extremely quickly without being certain. So in DeKalb, David Schaefer, who's the GOP chairman for Georgia, he said, one of our monitors discovered 2,600 votes in error, the DeKalb County and the DeKalb County hand count. One batch was labeled 10,707 for Biden and 13 for Trump. An improbable margin even by DeKalb standards. The actual count for the batch was 1,081 for Biden, 13 for Trump. And then a reporter from 11 Alive said, the original machine count got it right. Human hand count of one batch in the audit got it wrong and was immediately caught because there can't be 10,000 votes in a 1,000 plus vote batch. Corrected on the spot, no conspiracy or change in the outcome or margin, no extra votes added. And then, of course, DeKalb County was quick to put out a statement because Schaefer's tweet, I mean, now it's been retweeted like over 25,000 times, but it spread like wildfire, screenshots, everything else, everyone, you know, Trump sharing it, saying that there's this huge error. But what is a 10,000 plus batch and a 1,000 plus batch? Like, why are we, if a ballot batch is for 1,000, why do you have 1,094 votes in it? Like, there's no system there's no systematic process to this audit.
No, and it's now we of course like decentralized government, but it is completely wild and completely depends on what county you're in, what the local election board does, and just like we're talking about the observers, this county allows 1 per table. This county says 1 per 10. There's no consistency across the board with it. So it really comes down to what does the elections board or whoever the chief of elections wants the outcome to be? Well, if the Democrat is in the lead and we want the Democrat to win and we're in a Democratic county, well, we want fewer observers because if there are errors, we don't want to find them. And if you're in a Republican led area, it's like, we want as many observers as possible because we want to find every error. We want to find every vote that should have gone for Trump. The results should be the results. It is what it is. We shouldn't be sitting here however many weeks later as we're going into Thanksgiving week, after the last Thursday of the month, after the election was on the first Tuesday, still wondering how many people voted and who did they vote for? So, as we're about to run long,
I just want to say really quick one other thing. What we know is because we know it because there were enough people there that there couldn't be a cover up. And I'm not saying that every time there's only one or two people around, there's a problem. That's certainly not true. There are honest people in our state, and they do work in government, some of them. But in a rural county where you only have one superintendent, you don't have a board of elections, there's only him or her and one other person volunteering, counting, doing this recount, and they stumbled upon some ballots that weren't done correctly or that they really fudged it. Do you think that they're going to come forward, or do you think they're just going to toss it?
CYA.
Yes. Look at what happened in Floyd. They fired the guy. And we don't even, and Floyd is the only one where we don't know what really happened.
Right. And no clue. And I don't know, man. I don't know how much superintendent of elections pays. I don't know why you want the job. Other than, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you want the folks we have a woman named Deidre here. She's very, very, very responsive, very good. If you have an election question about, I'm thinking about running for office, what do I need to do? She's very responsive. And of course, I don't think we had any problems in Paulding County. I just don't think I don't know that it's a great job that anybody really wants. But yeah, when this happens, you're under fire. And I don't. Floyd County, all the counties that lost cards really bother me because I don't know how many cards are lost. Again, if you're a Democratic poll worker, which a lot of them are, because again, it just it's a volunteer thing, and a lot of them happen to be Democrats. How easy it would be if you're in a Republican area to stick that card in your pocket and just walk away with it. I mean, we should be able to say with certainty, can't talk. How many people came to this polling station and how many votes do we have from this polling station? Even if it's not per machine. If I know we had 10,000 people walk through this door and I have 9,000 votes, I know there's 1,000 votes somewhere. Everybody empty your damn pockets. Hell, when I was a kid, I worked at a company called Media Play. And it was
gosh.
Yes. Every day before you left, you turned your pockets out. You went over to the manager's desk and you turned your pockets out to show that you're not walking off with a CD. All right, kids. Compact discs were MP3s before they were MP3s. Mm-hmm. You actually had to carry them around with you. But yeah, you turned your pockets out. Women opened their purse, and someone would look through the purse, make sure she didn't stick a cassette or a CD in her purse. And that was a process every day. It was a condition of employment. So how is it that a subsidiary of Sam Good had more control over their inventory than our damn elections?
Well,
someone walked away with an $11 CD is a bigger problem than someone stealing 1,000 votes.
And it doesn't matter if it would have changed the outcome. It matters because somebody cast a vote.
It also matters because you can't trust the outcome.
Amen.
And of course, we can't get into everything that Trump said because it'll take us three hours to get through all his tweets. Okay. So as we're running really close, Jessica, do you have any closing thoughts for this Thanksgiving edition of the show?
I don't, because I know what yours is, and I'd like to defer to you only because there's been so much negativity and so much awfulness and just straight chaos, as we've said throughout the whole show, that I think your thought is what we should leave people on until next week.
You know, they're talking about limiting families, and it's certainly not in Georgia, but you're limiting how many people you can have in your house. Every day you don't spend with families, a day you'll never have. You never know when it's somebody's last Thanksgiving. You'll never know when it's somebody's last Christmas. So every day that you get to spend, hugging your loved ones, sharing a meal with your loved ones, cracking jokes with your loved ones, every day you skip like that's a day you will never get back. So please do whatever you need to do. Be safe, obviously, whether it's a Zoom call, whatever makes you comfortable. But spend that time with family. That's what Thanksgiving's about. That's why it's probably my favorite holiday, because I don't care about presents and everything else, but sharing a meal with family and getting together. And especially as you get older, you don't see your siblings as much. And it's a great opportunity to, I mean, for me, I didn't know last Thanksgiving was the last time I'd have, or the one before was the last one I would have with my older brother. No idea. but you never know when that opportunity is never going to be there again. When you lose a parent, lose a sibling, God forbid, lose a child. So please enjoy your Thanksgiving. Have a great Turkey Day. Thank you very much for listening. And if you really want to make your family happy, put this podcast on a speaker and play it during dinner. That certainly will not aid digestion. We're talking about the election. So for Jessica Szilagyi, for Eric Cumby, our editor, for Big Daddy Unlimited, our sponsor, I'm Dave Roberts. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great week.